Good morning, friends. Welcome to Three Generations. This is Dale. How y'all doing this morning? It's let's see. This is Friday, September 24th, and I just wanted to have you follow me a little bit today and what I'm doing, and get you caught up a little bit. So anyhow, I've been retired now for just over a month, a couple days over a month. And I've been down here on the homestead for right about a month. So the time is just flying right by. I can't believe it. I would have had no idea that it could fly by so fast, but I'm having fun. That's what counts, right? So today the plan is here to build a little fence. I'd started putting some skirting around the underneath the fifth wheel part of our RV, partly so that I'm preparing for winter when I will insulate that area, and just to help keep the bedroom a little warmer, and to hide some of our junk. I've decided to extend the fencing, the skirting out here so that I can put our trash cans and our black water tank and our freshwater tank and some of that, so it's not quite so in people's faces and hidden away a little. So yeah, that's part of what I'm going to do today. The rest of it is I'll take you along, hopefully I'll remember to take you along out to the small pasture where I need to I'd started the process of getting it ready for sheep. As far as electric fence, I do have it to where the fencing does have electricity through it, but it's grounded out a lot of places, and so I need to work at fixing those places where the hot wires touch the non-hot wires and create some power loss in the fence. So I need to get this done because Monday our first sheep come. We have 7 sheep coming. We were going to have 9. The other shepherdess, who we were going to get 2 sheep from, they got COVID, and unfortunately, such a shame and such a loss. Her husband Joe died from it the other week. So she's not quite ready to have the sheep come, and so we may end up, buying something from her a little later. Something, we'll see. But I did find another local farmer by accident who is getting ready to sell his farm, and he has up to 5 ewes that I could buy. So that's pretty exciting. Fin sheep, that is, fin sheep ewes, which are kind of hard to find, and they are with lambs. So I may end up buying, I committed to 2 of them, and I'm about ready to pull the trigger and say, let's get all 5. And I think all 5 of the ewes are about ready to lamb in the next few weeks here, so we won't be able to get them until after they've lambed, and then we'll move them here to the farm, to the homestead, and we'll see what we get. I'm pretty excited. The 2 that we're definitely getting, one is a dark brown fin, and the other one's a medium brown fin. So that's kind of exciting to get some other color wool for Kendra for the fiber art. So anyhow, it's really good to have you come along today, and blessings to you. Thanks. Hey, so little history on this fence. While we were still living in Lancaster, Kendra was wanting to do kind of a colonial style garden somewhere here around the barn, the former dairy barn that will become our house with the in-law quarters part where we live. And she really liked the rustic look. We had visited a museum near here in Stanton, Virginia. It's called something like Frontier Village Museum or something like that. And they just have lots. It's a really cool place. Sometime maybe I'll take you on a tour of that place. But anyhow, there's all kinds of houses that were farms that were brought from Europe, from different areas and time periods, and rebuilt, dismantled in Europe, rebuilt here at the museum. And there's a lot of different styles of colonial kinds of gardens. And so she liked the rustic, the idea of really rustic looking wood. And this met the bill. These people in Hershey, Pennsylvania were tearing out their fence, big fence, and very inexpensively I got a bunch of the wood from that. And if I'd have had room, I'd have taken all of it, because I could have seen us using it in a variety of ways. Some days I can talk and some days I can't. Well, most days I can't, but anyhow, that's beyond the point. I had built the fencing for the colonial garden. We had lots of stuff left over, and when I was thinking about skirting around the front of the RV here, I thought, well, I'll use this fencing. So the idea around the RV is not colonial, rustic look. So I will go to Home Depot or Lowe's probably next week or later this week or sometime and get some paint that will kind of match our kind of a grayish green, light grayish green color of the trim of our RV. And I'll paint the fence that color so that it looks like it belongs, kind of, maybe. But anyhow, that's beside the point. You can see my brace up here is crooked. I don't really care. I do care though that the top of the fence here looks fairly lined up. So I'll probably end up, now that I've put it together, I'll probably go ahead and readjust some of those to get them look similar. They don't have to be perfectly across the top, but at least look a little bit straighter than what they are now. So anyhow, I'll let you watch me work. Alrighty, it's not perfectly straight across. If I wanted it perfectly straight, I'd string it, put the up to the string each time. But I struggle with perfectionism all my life, and as an artist, I have somewhat decided that perfect for me is not always perfect. A perfect world is unattainable, at least for myself as a perfectionist, and I need to loosen up a little and not be so rigid, and I still learn that lesson every day. So anyhow, so for this fence, I'm really good with what I've got. So anyhow, I think I'll show you a little bit. I'll show you the fence with some hand shots here that maybe I'll sprinkle in up further or something. I don't know. But anyhow, I'm almost done with this job. So then we'll move on to the fence, the electric fence for the sheep here shortly. Blessings. So back here, I'll eventually, probably this fall, I'll put a fence with a gate across the back here and insulate. So anyhow, There's the skirting and fence. All right, I had realized that I wanted to drive a post in on here to hold this in place. If I ever do extend this little barrier, this little wall here across, that would give it sturdiness too, but I'm not doing that now, so post will have to do for now. And as always, I'm wearing my safety glasses to protect my eyes. So if you pound posts, anything with metal like this, be sure that you have some kind of safety glasses on so you don't take some metal to the eye. Now my dad, most of his working career was a tractor mechanic. What used to be International, I guess that's what it was, Farmals, Internationals. And he'd split those big tractors in two and fix things. And I remember as a kid being fascinated going there and seeing that he could actually split these things wide open and get to all the stuff he needed to get to. And I remember getting the ball bearings out of the wheels, out of the, I guess that's the axles where the bearings are. And oh, that was so much fun. I had all these, we called them steelies. We'd play marbles at lunchtime or break time at school, and all the kids loved my steel ball bearings, and they wanted to play marbles with me because I had the cool ones. And but the trouble was I wasn't allowed to play for keeps because that was kind of like gambling. So the only way they got any of those is if they became a good friend and I'd just give them some, I guess is the way that worked. But in my marble bag, I still think I have some of those steel ball bearings the dad got from work. But anyhow, he did not wear safety glasses back in that day. And I know there was at least once, and I'm pretty sure it was twice, that he had to go into the doctor or hospital to get metal taken out of his eye, and then it'd be red, and I think the vision was blurry for a while and stuff like that. But anyhow, wear your safety glasses. Bigger hammers and sledgehammers, obviously. Not right here at this point right here. They're over here in the storage container. And this is driving quite easy compared to some of the other stuff I've tried to drive here on the farm. There seems to be really fertile ground, like starting right here, that direction on out. We're planning on doing some gardens down just to behind me to the left. And I think we're going to have some really nice fertile ground. The rest of this direction, around the barns, around all that, it's heavy clay, hard clay, and often a lot of gravel in with it. So anyhow, I'll have to get out my big hammer now. And it's time for coffee, where Kendra and I, around 9:30 in the morning, thereabouts, we try to take a coffee break together. We sit in our recliners and look out the window out towards kind of the north, maybe a little bit northwest, and we enjoy our coffee there. So anyhow, maybe I'll bring you in there and you can join us. Get your coffee ready. Oh, all right.
See any birds?
No birds. Welcome to our coffee time, friends. Kendra and I do this routinely most mornings around 9:30. Yeah. We just really enjoy sitting here doing our coffee and looking out across the valley, the Shenandoah Valley out across here. We often, around this time, we see a lot of birds. This morning there are none, which is very disappointing. Why would that be disappointing, Kendra?
We just put out soot feeders yesterday.
Yeah.
And hope to see some birds, but I think it might be a little cold for them. It's our first quite cold morning. So maybe they're just not used to it yet and not out and about. this morning early, I don't know, maybe 7:45. It was fascinating. Off topic, not birds. But that tree, I don't know if you can see it, folks. The big tree along the road where the truck's coming out, it cast a shadow, I kid you not, maybe halfway across that field. And I thought, surely it can't be it. But as the morning sun moved, yep, that's exactly what it was. It was just incredible to me that one tree could cast a shadow that huge and long.
So back to the bird feeding, we had a dilemma because we wanted to draw birds. We see a few, and we've seen some beautiful, bluebirds. We've
Eastern
seen
bluebird.
Eastern bluebirds. We've seen, of course, the robins and a hawk or two swooping over along here looking for mice. But speaking of mice, we did not want to have a traditional mix of seeds for birds that would flick out into the grass and draw mice to the area. So, in Kendra's research, she found that if you do suet, it doesn't tend to do that. So we're hoping not to draw mice. We both hate mice with a passion. Yeah.
Yep.
And we've had some houses we've lived in where we had a lot of we were feeding a lot of mice that we didn't want to feed. a lot of mouths that we did not want to feed. But we're hoping with the suet. We were at Tractor Supply yesterday, and they had one of their suet feeders on sale for an incredibly cheap price, and the suet wasn't that much. But someday, we hope in the process of after butchering, and we have a lot of lard, meat, fat, to start making some of our own suet for our use. But if you can see way out in the distance, I'm not sure how sharp it is. It's going through this glass that has a lot of dirt and staining that can be removed as the water comes off the top roof. It runs right down this here. And so the first weekend I was visiting, living in this for the weekend, I cleaned that up really nice. Oh, that'll take care of it. Well, and I found out every time it dews heavy or rains, it runs off the roof. And it's probably from the roof coating, I'm assuming, the chemicals that kind of leach off of there maybe. I don't know. But anyhow, I'm hoping to eventually figure out how to get a system so it doesn't run over the windows, because we love this spot.
Mm-hmm.
These recliners are really cool in that they spin 360 degrees. So 9:30 in the morning, we can be this way looking at this incredible view.
Or we can scoochie around here and go get our coffee heated.
Yeah. Or in the evening, this way, when we watch our favorite YouTube channels, we can turn and sit here or on the couch and watch them. Or if we would have company, we could turn. And it's just a really versatile situation with these particular recliners. So anyhow, I don't know that we have a whole lot more to say. But anyhow, I'll let you watch a little bit longer as we just sit here and soak in the view. So, you said you slept 8 hours, but you don't feel rested.
Right, and I don't know how long I really slept because I didn't pay attention when I went to sleep.
Yeah. Did you end up? Alrighty, we're here at the brains of our electric fencing system. It's called a Mark 7 fence charger. 30-mile range, low impedance. I know very little about what all that means, but anyhow, it's what it says, and I believe it. I had plugged this in earlier this week, and got it to where my initial paddock that I'm putting the sheep in, I had electric through the whole thing, and where this was showing like close to around a 14 here, and when I turned it on, it was way down. I kept finding areas where the hot wire was being grounded to like the other wires or whatever, and but then the rains came and it got very wet, and then I lost a lot of, it was grounded out pretty bad, I think. So I decided to wait until the rain was over. It's still wet out there, but I just want to see what the voltage is. It was 14, a few days ago it was like a 14.4 or something, which means 14 times 1,000 means it's 14,000 volts, if I understand this right. So I'm going to plug it in, and I just want to see before I go out there. I don't want to, when I go out there to work, I don't really, with it being so wet, I don't want it to be charged. I just want to find those places that it's grounding out. So 8.2, 7.9, yeah, around an 8, 7.7, 7.6. To me, I was in the 4s and 5s when it was raining. So it's doing a little better right now, but obviously it's not as wet. So anyhow, I'm going to see what I can do. Watch me work. Earlier this week, and the last week, and then earlier this week, I went around and put some of these warning electric fence signs just to warn anybody coming around here that they should not touch or climb on these fences, because they will be energized. And it's in 3 languages, so, and it's got both the words and the visual pictures, so hopefully that'll work. Alrighty, I'm trying to find places where here's the hot wire coming through, and it crosses over the angled wire here that holds this post sturdy. And so I'm looking for places where these wires touch, and then it will end up energizing the electric wire. And so as you can see, this insulator had moved down. So I'm moving it back up, and I've got some electrical tape that I'll put around that just to hold it in place. I guess if I had a hammer with me, I could drive that staple a little tighter, but then it does have the potential of, if you drive it too hard, it has the potential of weakening and weakening the wire itself. Down around the corner here on Monday, I think it was, I couldn't get electric past a section there that had just one hot wire going across a wooden fenced area, and so I ended up getting my electrical tester, and I texted for continuity, and there wasn't continuity through that. So I pulled what's supposed to be the hot wires out of that and redone it, put it back together, and now I have electric going through that section. But it was a place where somebody had driven the staple way too tight, and it probably worked for a while, but eventually it did not work anymore. So anyhow, I just want to go back through. I saw there was a couple of these places where the insulator had been compromised. So the other issue I had out here, because of the insulator issue, was that the gate right behind the camera and the gate right over here, when I'd go to touch them, I'd get a nice little shock. So I'm hoping that through this I'm eliminating that. I don't know, we'll see. I just wanted to show you some detail here. The fence I was working on up through here and this one are what I would call perimeter fences. In other words, they're either like the border of the property or there's not another fence beyond that. And so you can see here maybe the wire that is a perimeter fence, it gets an insulator around the post and they keep the wires from touching others. And so this one here and this one here are your hot wires. And so then this here is actually, this is a bracing wire that goes up to the corner of the next post to the top. But here, so on these what I'll call perimeter fences, they run the hot wire at the very bottom, the way they built this system. Over on the other side where I was earlier, that has another wire below that. So I think that my theory on that is, and the one below that is not hot. My theory on that is that the perimeter is where predators would come through. And so they want that bottom one, so if it tries to duck in under there, it gets zapped. Where once you're on inside fences that also have other fences, your own fences beyond that, then they don't bother putting a lower one yet. They just have make the hot one just a little bit lower than the others. The way it looks to me now. I could be totally wrong, and you can let me know. I'm a very much of a rookie at this, and I haven't had time to do YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff to try to figure all this stuff out. But I think I kind of understand the theory of this, and hopefully I've got it at least somewhat correct. So anyhow, I have, it looks like I'm probably 3/4 of the way done, but it's going on lunchtime already. Unbelievable how fast time flies. Yeah, it's 20 minutes till 12. I usually try to stop somewhere between 12 and 12:30 for lunch, and I have just a little section here to get up to this corner, and then I'm going to go and turn it on because I've found all kinds of direct short kinds of stuff going on, plus grass. My understanding is that probably any of the grass that touches it can burn it off, but I would sooner not have 10,000 blades of grass. You know, I already weed whacked this, there wasn't much here. But now I'm doing a fine tuning, and when I weed whacked it, I wasn't paying attention to the insulators on the posts, and it's really critical that I have that also, so there's no shorts going into the post, especially when it's wet. So, alrighty. Ugh, getting too old for getting up and down like that. Just about lunchtime, around noon. I'm about 3/4 of the way around the pasture, and let's plug this in. If I remember correctly, we're at like mid-5s to mid-6s on what we were getting on the charger here. Let's see what happens after I've corrected a bunch of grounding issues and taken away grass that was touching the hot wire at the bottom. Alrighty. Yes, look at that. Look at that. It's 10.7, 10,700 volts. So the work I've done already, you can see, has really improved this. The highest I've seen this is around 14.4. Usually it was, and that's without hardly anything hooked up. So anyhow, all right, lunchtime.